Her tire blew at 2 a.m. A black mechanic stopped to help. By morning, her followers were hunting her.
You don't have to do this alone.
I know. Thank you.
Before we dive in, make sure to hit subscribe, tap like, and share this video. The more voices we reach, the louder these stories become. And drop your city in the comments. Let's see where love finds us. By the time Tessa Monroe's tire finally gave up, it sounded like her whole life was splitting open. The SUV lurched, that sickening thump, 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 dragging along the empty highway shoulder outside the city. She cursed under her breath, gripping the wheel, diamond bracelet catching the dashboard lights as she wrestled the car to the side. Hazards on, engine off, silence, except for the hum of distant traffic and the soft hiss of cooling metal. Tessa sat there for a moment, manicured fingers frozen around the wheel. Her reflection stared back from the dark windshield, thick, curvy, camera-ready even at 1:47 a.m. Her tight black dress hugged her hourglass hips, cleavage pushed up by the corset bodice she'd chosen for the soft night-in livestream. Only, the night-in had turned into a last-minute brand event across town, and now, this. Flat tire. She grabbed her phone, the familiar comfort of the screen lighting her face. 5 unread DMs. A barrage of hearts and comments from the live stream she'd just ended in the parking garage, pretending she was already home. She checked her camera, battery at 8%. Of course. Her eyes flicked to the rearview mirror, empty highway, dark stretch of road, no security, no glossy lobby, no curated lighting or backup ring light, just her designer SUV, and a dead strip of rubber. Okay, she whispered, breath puffing white in the cool air. Content later, survival now. She tapped her rideshare app. No cars nearby. She tried the emergency assistance number her dealership had given her months ago. On hold. Her heart kicked harder, a little animal inside her ribs. Tessa swallowed and pushed open the door. The night air hit her bare thighs. The dress she loved in photos suddenly felt stupid and fragile here. She rounded the SUV, hugging herself, and saw the tire, completely shredded, black rubber peeled like a ripped dress hem. She bit down on a hysterical laugh. Headlights swept over her suddenly and she flinched, hand flying to her chest. A pickup truck rumbled closer, then slowed as it saw her hazard lights. Instinct told her to step back to make herself smaller, safer. The truck stopped a few yards behind her, engine idling. For a second she considered running back into the SUV and locking the doors. But the driver's door opened slowly, calmly, not the jerk of someone eager to cause trouble, just a tired sort of movement. A tall man climbed out, silhouetted in the glare from his own headlights. "Hey," he called, voice deep, carrying easily over the wind. "You okay?" As he stepped closer, the light caught him fully. A black man, broad-shouldered, late 20s or early 30s. His coveralls were dark blue under an open grease-smeared jacket. Hands stained with oil, knuckles scarred. His hair was cropped close, beard trimmed neat. There was a streak of black across one cheek, like someone had dragged a thumb there and never wiped it off. Tessa's muscles tensed. Every safety video she'd ever watched flashed through her brain. Alone. At night. Stranger. No witnesses. He stopped a respectful distance away, palms open at his sides, like he didn't want to spook her. "I saw your hazards from down the road," he said. "Looks like you blew a tire." "Yeah," she replied, hating how shaky her voice came out. She lifted her chin, defaulting to the version of herself the internet knew, poised, unbothered, in control. "I've got it handled. I just called roadside assistance." He glanced at the sad, shredded rubber, then at her phone. "They give you a time?" She hesitated. The hold music was probably still playing into the void. "They're working on it." One corner of his mouth tugged up. Not mocking, just tiredly amused, like he'd heard that 1,000 times. "I'm Malik," he said. "I work over at Carter's Auto, about 10 minutes back. Was heading home, got a jack, spare tools, the whole circus back there." He jerked his chin toward the pickup. "You got a spare in your trunk?" "Aye." Tessa looked back at her SUV, sleek and spotless. "I think so." "Mind if I check?" Malik asked. "You can watch my every move, swear I'm not touching anything but the tire. You shouldn't be stuck out here this late." Her throat clenched, pride wrestled with fear. Every instinct told her not to trust, not to owe anyone, not to be seen as the girl who needed help. But the empty highway stretched out on both sides like a black ocean. Her battery ticked down to 7%. "Okay," she said quietly. I'll stay by the door. Works for me, he replied. He moved slowly, deliberately, hands visible. When he passed her, she caught his scent, engine oil, soap, and something like metal warmed by hands. Not unpleasant, just real. Too real for the polished world she lived in. Tessa opened the driver's door and leaned her hip against it, one hand on the lock switch. The other still held her phone like a lifeline. Malik opened the back hatch of the SUV, rummaged around and let out a low whistle. Well, look at that. Fancy girl does have a spare. Fancy girl, she echoed, bristling. He grinned, still focused on the trunk. You got 3 different branded yoga mats back here, a ring light, and what I think is a portable steamer. I'm betting you don't do your own oil changes. I have people for that, she said before she could stop herself, then winced at how entitled it sounded. Figured, he said lightly. No judgment, just means I'm useful tonight. He hauled out the spare tire and the flimsy factory jack. This little guy's a joke, he muttered. Good for ads, not much else. Let me grab mine. He jogged back to his truck, boots crunching on gravel. In the sharp beam of his headlights, Tessa watched him move. Solid, grounded, completely at ease doing something physical, something she'd only ever used as background aesthetic for photo shoots. When he returned, he carried a heavy jack and a battered toolbox. He set them down gently, almost tenderly, muttering to himself about lug nuts and torque. You done this before? She heard herself ask, needing to fill the quiet. Couple 1,000 times, Malik said, crouching by the ruined tire. His knees cracked softly. Been under hoods since I was big enough to lift a wrench. My dad taught me. Now I pay rent with it. There was pride in his voice. Not boastful, just steady. Her hand twitched toward her phone camera out of habit. This would make such a good story. Stranded at 2 a.m., and then an angel in greasy clothes shows up. People loved gritty, real moments, as long as they were filtered and safe. But then she caught a glimpse of herself in the side mirror, blonde hair spilling over her bare shoulders, dress clinging to her soft curves, lips still tinted with nude gloss. And behind her, Malik in stained coveralls, working with calm focus. Her mind jumped ahead to comments she'd seen before. Why is she with him? He looks sketchy. This isn't on brand, babe. She swallowed hard and turned the phone screen off. You don't have to stay out here, Malik said, glancing up at her. The jack squeaked as he began to lift the SUV. You can sit inside, lock the doors. I'll knock when the tire's on. I'm fine, she said. I want to see. His gaze met hers for a heartbeat. His eyes were deep brown and unexpectedly gentle, like he was taking her measure and finding something he didn't quite expect. Suit yourself, he said. As he worked, the night seemed to close in around them. Just the soft scrape of metal, the clink of tools, the distant rush of passing cars. Once, a truck sped past too close, rocking the SUV. Tessa flinched, fingers digging into the doorframe until her nails hurt. You good? Malik asked, steadying the jack with one hand. Yeah, she whispered. Just not used to the world without noise. He huffed a quiet laugh. That's the only world I know. No followers out here, just busted parts and folks who need to get home. She could have let that slide past, but something about the way he said followers made her bristle. Actually, I have 3.2 million, she said before her pride could shut up. Followers. He didn't look up. Sounds heavy. Heavy? He loosened the last lug nut with a grunt. Carrying that many eyes, trying not to slip. She went silent. He'd nailed the feeling she never let herself articulate. Sometimes it feels like that, she admitted after a beat. The confession surprised her as much as it seemed to surprise him. He pulled the shredded tire off, muscles flexing under the fabric of his sleeves, then rolled the spare into place. So, he said, lining up the holes, you a singer or something? Fitness? Makeup? Lifestyle, she said. Brand partnerships, fashion, travel, wellness, that kind of thing. He smirked softly. Sound like a whole mall in one person. She laughed, a real laugh that broke out of her chest without permission. It felt good. Too good. Do you follow influencers? She asked, immediately regretting how needy it sounded. Nope, Malik said, tightening the lug nuts in a star pattern. Don't even have Instagram on my phone. You don't? She blinked. At all? Got enough to look at under a hood every day, he said. Besides, feels weird scrolling through perfect pictures while I'm covered in grease, you know? Her cheeks warmed, even though he hadn't said anything directly about her. He lowered the jack slowly, the SUV settling back onto the asphalt. He gave the tire a testing kick, then stood up, wiping his hands on a rag that looked like it had seen 1,000 engines. "You're good to go," he said. "Spell hold till you get a proper replacement. Drive no more than, say, 50, and don't try to be fast and furious out here." She nodded, relief washing through her so quickly she had to grab the open door to steady herself. "Thank you, really. I didn't even know where the spare was." "Most people don't," he said, not unkindly. "That's why people like me stay employed." She hesitated, then opened her purse, fingers closing around her card holder. "How much do I owe you?" Malik shook his head. "You don't." "I insist," Tessa said. "You came all this way. You got dirty." He glanced down at his coveralls, already stained with old oil. "Trust me, this is my baseline." "Still," she pressed, "I'm not letting you fix my car for free." Something flickered across his face then. Pride, stubbornness, something old and heavy. "You're not letting me," he echoed slowly. "Or you're not used to anyone doing something without a price tag." Her chest tightened. He'd hit closer than he knew. In Tessa's world, everything was a collab, a favor, a deliverable. She closed the card holder, feeling stupid. "I just wanted to say thank you." "You already did," he said, his tone softened. "Look, if it makes you feel better, you can swing by the shop sometime, get a real tire put on it. Ask for Malik. Then you pay the register, and I get my cut fair and square." She nodded, feeling like she'd been gently corrected and not sure how to respond. "Okay, I can do that." He stepped back, giving her space to climb in. She moved around the door, her dress riding up slightly as she did. She tugged it down automatically, acutely aware of his eyes on her, but when she glanced at him, he was looking at the tire, not her body. For some reason, that unsettled her more. She slid into the driver's seat and started the engine. The dashboard glowed softly. Her notifications lit up again, 2 missed calls from her manager, a dozen comments asking, "Where did you go, babe? We want part 2. Her thumb hovered over the camera icon. She could post something. A vague, aesthetic shot of the empty road, a cryptic caption about unexpected detours and angels on lonely highways. She could crop Malik out completely. Her audience would eat it up. Her thumb moved to open the camera. "Tessa?" She looked up. "Yeah." "Get home safe," Malik said. "And maybe don't tell the whole internet exactly where you are tonight." His eyes were serious, protective even. Concern, not control. Her chest squeezed. "I won't," she said softly. She didn't add, "I don't know how to tell them about you anyway." She watched him walk back to his pickup in her side mirror. Watched the way his shoulders carried tiredness and steadiness in equal measure. Watched as he climbed in, headlights sweeping across her SUV one last time before turning back toward the distant glow of the city. Tessa put her phone face down in the cup holder. As she pulled onto the highway, the SUV humming smoothly under her, she felt the absence of the camera like phantom weight in her hand. For the first time in a long time, something important had happened in her life that she hadn't filmed, framed, or filtered. And she had no idea yet how much that choice, and the man in greasy clothes who'd made it possible, was about to crack her perfect world open. The next morning, the city felt too bright. Tessa stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows of her apartment, staring down at the stream of tiny cars on the boulevard. Her reflection hovered over the glass, thick and soft in an oversized sweatshirt that slid off one shoulder, bare legs, hair piled on top of her head in a messy bun. Her phone buzzed non-stop on the kitchen island behind her, the sound like a fly she couldn't swat. She finally walked over and flipped it face up. Hundreds of notifications, comments from last night's live stream, DMs from brands, 3 missed calls from her manager, Ava. She hit call back. Ava picked up on the second ring. "Where did you go?" Ava demanded, skipping hello. "You vanished mid-hype. The chat exploded. Everyone thought you were teasing some big reveal." Tessa cringed. "My tire blew on the way home. I had to pull over. Oh my God, are you okay? Did you film it?" "No." She hesitated. "I couldn't." "Couldn't?" Ava's tone sharpened. "Babe, a stranded-at-night moment? That's authenticity served on a silver platter. Do you know what we could have done with that? Influencer learns she can't control everything. Brands love that now. We're in the era of messy curated." Tessa's throat tightened. "I was alone on the highway, Ava. It didn't feel safe to turn on the camera. I was trying not to have a panic attack." Ava sighed, softer this time. "Okay, fair. I'm glad you're okay. But at least give them a story now. A woke up so grateful post. Something. Make it a lesson. Her mind flashed back to Malik's hands, steady around the jack, the way he'd said, sounds heavy, the way he'd told her not to tell the internet where she was. I'll figure something out, she said. Good. Also, listen, Fable and Frame emailed. They want you for that Real Roads, Real Women campaign. Road trips, actual car talk, not just cute coffee stops. Ava chuckled. Apparently they believe your followers will trust you when you share the roads you've travelled. Their words, not mine. Tessa stared at the wall. Car talk? Yeah, maintenance, safety, all that. They want to lean into your independent woman image. Can you drive by yourself, or do we need to hire someone to teach you how to check your oil? Tessa swallowed. I know how to drive, and I learned about spares last night. Perfect. That's our angle, Ava said, voice brightening. We spin the flat tire into the origin story. I'll draft something. Just get some footage at a mechanic's or whatever this week. Grease, tools, you pretending to understand what a lug nut is, cute gold mine. Her stomach dropped. I'll see what I can do. After she hung up, Tessa stood there for a long moment, phone heavy in her hand. The idea of turning that quiet, frightening moment on the highway into content made her feel hollow. But rent, team salaries, makeup artists, photographers, her whole life was built on selling pieces of herself. She'd chosen this. Hadn't she? Her car key lay on the counter. The dealership could pick up the SUV, replace the tire, wash it, and drop it back without her lifting a finger. Instead, she heard Malik's voice in her head. Swing by the shop sometime. Ask for Malik. Before she could second-guess it, she grabbed the keys. Carter's Auto was not a place anyone would call aesthetic. The sign out front was faded red, some letters chipped, but it stood solid over the low building. The air smelled like oil, rubber, and coffee that had been brewed at dawn and forgotten. Cars lined the lot, old sedans, family SUVs, one sunburnt truck that looked like it had seen decades. Her glossy black SUV looked like it didn't belong there. Tessa parked, feeling absurdly overdressed in her casual day outfit. Fitted leggings hugging her thick thighs, an oversized cream sweater that hung loose around her hips, clean white sneakers. She'd thrown on big sunglasses, more as armor than disguise. Inside, the front office was small, a cracked plastic chair, a coffee machine, a bulletin board with crooked flyers. The counter held a jar of pens, a stack of wrinkled invoices, and a bell that someone had stuck a smiley face sticker on. Be right with you, a voice called from the garage. She peered through the doorway. Malik was half under the hood of a car, grease on his forearms, navy coveralls tied around his waist, dark T-shirt clinging to his back. An older man with salt and pepper hair and a kind, tired face, probably Carter, stood beside him, holding a part. Try that plug again, the older man said. She keeps stalling in second. Yeah, I got her, Malik replied, turning his wrist. His hands moved with confident precision. Tessa cleared her throat softly. Malik straightened, ducking out from under the hood. When he saw her, surprise flickered across his face, followed by something like cautious warmth. Well, damn, he said, wiping his hands on a rag. Thought for sure you'd go straight back to the dealership. My name's Tessa, she said, even though he hadn't asked. And I told you I'd come here. Guess you did. He nodded toward the SUV outside. She treat you nice after last night? She got me home, Tessa said. Barely. Carter glanced between them, eyebrows lifting. Friend of yours? Highway damsel in distress, Malik said. Flat tire at 2 a.m, spares on there now. Carter grunted. You got good timing, miss. Better he found you than whoever else might have pulled over. Tessa's skin prickled. Yeah, I know. Anyway, Malik said, coming around the counter, what can we do for you, Tessa? She held his gaze. I want to get a real tire put on, properly, and make sure everything's okay from the blowout. That we can do. His professionalism slid into place, steady and calm. You got an hour? We'll check alignment, too. Blowouts can throw more out of whack than you think. I have time, she said, more to herself than him. Her calendar was stacked, but suddenly all those meetings felt flimsy. I can wait here. He gestured toward the coffee machine. We got terrible coffee and Wi-Fi that pretends to exist. She smiled. I've had worse. As Malik drove her SUV into the bay, Tessa sank into the plastic chair, phone already in hand. Habit pulled her toward Instagram like gravity. She opened the app and flipped to the stories camera. The viewfinder showed the smudged front window, The faded Carter's Auto sign beyond it, one of Malik's co-workers walking past with a tyre. She framed a shot. Coffee cup, her hand, the blur of a car in the background. Text box, maintenance day. Always take care of what carries you. Her thumb hovered over the post button. The angle didn't show the shop name, didn't show Malik, didn't show the grease. No one would know. She posted it before she could talk herself out of it. The first wave of replies started almost instantly. Love this reminder, babe. Self-care, but make it car care. Where's your cute mechanic, lol? She locked her phone. Through the glass, she watched Malik work. He moved with an easy rhythm, shoulders flexing as he rotated the tyre, checked the suspension, tested the alignment. There was something hypnotic about it, like watching someone play an instrument they knew by heart. She wasn't used to being around men who built or fixed anything that wasn't a brand deck. He came back into the office a little later, wiping sweat from his forehead with his forearm. "You look like you're fighting your phone," he said, nodding toward it. She huffed a laugh. "Is it that obvious?" "Little bit." She hesitated. "My manager wants me to turn last night into a story. For a campaign, car brand, real roads, real women." His jaw shifted, just barely. "Using the flat?" "Yeah." Her fingers tightened around the device. "She wants footage at a mechanic's. Grease, tools, me looking vaguely competent. They want rough around the edges." She mimed air quotes. "Rough," he repeated, like he was tasting the word and not sure he liked it. "But still cute." "Exactly," she smiled, without humour. "Cute roughness, Instagram-safe grit. And you came here because—" "I came here because you told me to get a proper tyre," she said, then added, quieter, "and because I couldn't stop thinking about what you said, about carrying eyes." He studied her for a second. "You want to film here?" The question hit harder than she expected. She imagined pointing the camera at this space, at Malik, at his stained shirt, at the chipped sign. Her followers would say they loved seeing real life, but she knew the comments that would come too. Then there was something else. A small selfish part of her that liked that this place, this person, existed off camera. That it belonged only to her. No likes, no reposts, no tag deals. "I don't know," she admitted. "I thought about it. Then I thought about them." "Your followers," he said. "My job. My everything." Her chest ached. "They have opinions about who I'm allowed to stand next to, who fits the vibe, what looks aspirational." "And guys like me in greasy clothes don't make the cut," he said. It wasn't accusing, just honest. Her face burned. "That's not what I'm saying." "But it's what they're saying," he replied, gaze steady. "Or what you're afraid they'll say." She couldn't answer. He leaned against the door frame, the afternoon light catching the tiny scars along his knuckles. "Look, Tessa, you don't owe me a cameo. I'm not trying to end up as some gritty mechanic prop in a 30-second reel. I've been invisible in much worse ways than that." Her eyes stung unexpectedly. "I don't want to hide you," she said softly, "but I've built this whole world where everything is controlled, curated. And last night, for once, something happened that nobody saw but me and you. It felt safe. And now they want me to package it." Malik's expression softened. "You're allowed to have things that aren't content." "I don't know how anymore," she whispered. A silence stretched between them, full but not empty. Somewhere in the garage, a wrench clanged. The radio hummed quietly, some old R&B tune about heartbreak and home. "You ever think," Malik said finally, "that maybe the parts you keep off camera are the ones keeping you sane?" She let out a shaky breath. "Sometimes. Then I panic about the algorithm." He smiled faintly. "I get it. Different grind, same weight." She tilted her head. "You don't even have Instagram." "I still got bills," he said. "Still got people counting on me. My little sister's finishing up nursing school. I help where I can. Carter's getting older and somebody's got to keep the place running. That's my algorithm, I guess. Things I can hold." Tessa imagined that pressure. Rent, family, aging mentor. All held together by these hands that could lift an engine. It was a different kind of visibility, a different kind of demand. "Do you ever wish more people saw you?" she asked. "Like, really saw you?" He considered that. "Sometimes. Then I remember the kind of attention certain folks give a black man under a hood and think, I'm okay with my lane." Her chest tightened. "I'm sorry," she said quietly, not even sure for what exactly, for him, for herself, for the fact that her fear wasn't just about aesthetics, but about how harsh the world could be. He shook his head. Not your fault. Just the road we're on. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The air felt thick, but not uncomfortable, like a storm gathering somewhere out of sight. Your car's almost done, Malik said at last. We'll take her for a quick spin, make sure she's straight. You can ride along if you want to hear the weird noises I listen for. She smiled, the heaviness inside her loosening a little. Teach me what a lug nut actually does. I have a campaign to not embarrass myself in, he chuckled. All right, lifestyle. One crash course in not dying on the highway coming up. As he turned to go, she spoke without thinking. Malik? He looked back. Yeah? Thank you, she said, for caring that I got home safe, for not making last night into a joke, for talking to me like a person and not a brand. Something moved behind his eyes, something warm and wary all at once. Thank you for not filming me, he said quietly. Felt like you could have, and you didn't. Their gazes held. Then the bell on the door jingled as someone else walked in, the spell breaking. Malik nodded once and disappeared back into the garage. Tessa checked her phone. More messages. One from Ava. We need content from a garage this week. Can you shoot Thursday? The brand is excited. Think, real mechanics, real you. Her thumb hovered over the keyboard. On my way, she almost typed with the address of Carter's. Instead, she wrote, still planning. We'll find the right spot. She erased the name of the shop from her notes app. She had no idea that someone had already tagged her location from last night, that someone else had recognized the faded Carter's Auto sign through the reflection in her coffee cup, that a few of her followers had already started piecing together where she was. For now, Malik and this little oil-scented pocket of the city still felt like hers alone. But the internet was already sniffing at the edges of the one thing in her life she hadn't turned into content. And the next time she walked into Carter's Auto, it wouldn't be alone. Tessa woke to the sound of her phone having a panic attack. Buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. She rolled over, face squashed into her pillow, and grabbed it off the nightstand, squinting at the screen. For a second, she thought she was still dreaming. Her name was everywhere. Trending page, tagged posts, reels, threads. The first video at the top made her sit up so fast her head spun. Someone had paused last night's maintenance day. Story zoomed into the reflection in the grimy office window and slapped red circles over it. The faded sign above the shop door sharpened until the pixels screamed, read, Carter's Auto. Caption, this is not a dealership who is Tessa Monroe's mystery mechanic? She scrolled with numb fingers. Another post, a shaky zoom from across the street, catching her thick body in leggings and hoodie as she walked into the shop. Malik's broad frame blurred in the background near the bay door. The comments hit like stones. She really out here at some ghetto shop? This is not soft life, babe. Blue-collar king, I see you. Dating the Help Arc unlocked. No far, this is the most real she's ever been. Keep him. Tell me he's black without telling me he's black. You'll know the trolls are going to be weird. Her stomach turned. Another account had posted screenshots of Malik's face caught in mid-laugh, lifted from some follower's sneaky story. He's kind of fine, NGL. Not her gatekeeping the mechanic. Drop the at. If she doesn't want him, I do. Tessa dropped the phone like it had shocked her. It buzzed again, skittering across the sheets. Ava. She answered on the second ring. Morning, trending girl, Ava said, sounding like she'd already had 3 coffees. You seeing this? Yeah. Tessa croaked. We could not have planned this better, Ava barreled on. Real man, real grease, real roads. Fable and Frame are freaking out. They called at 7. They want to pivot the campaign around the mechanic who saved you. We lock this in. It's not just a deal. It's a rebrand. Tessa pressed her palm to her eyes. Ava, they're doxing a random man who happened to help me. Random? Ava scoffed. Honey, nothing's random now. The internet decided he's your love interest. Let's steer it before they drive it off a cliff. He didn't ask for this, Tessa said, voice sharpening. No one asks to become a meme, Ava replied. Look, we can protect him better inside the narrative than outside it. We get him on camera, we pay him fairly, we make the shop look good. We'll have talking points about respecting workers and seeing the people who keep us safe on the road. It's win-win. It's my face on the campaign, not his, Tessa said. When the comments get ugly, I can log off. He still has to unlock the shop in the morning. Ava sighed, exasperated. You're overthinking this. He's a mechanic, T. This is exposure and money. I already set a meeting at the shop for 3 o'clock. Brand reps, small crew, couple of quick shots. Bring something that says laid back but hot. You know the drill. Tessa's chest tightened. You booked a meeting without asking him? Or me? I booked a meeting based on momentum, Ava shot back. We are not lighting 6 figures on fire because you suddenly feel shy about being seen with a man from the wrong tax bracket. The silence after that line was icy. Ava seemed to realize she'd gone too far. Her tone softened. Look, you like him, right? People can tell. So let them. We make it romantic, aspirational. She chose the real guy over the shiny world. You'll sell more than tires. He's not a storyline, Tessa said, barely above a whisper. He can be a partner in one, Ava said. 3 o'clock. Don't be late. The call ended. Tessa sat there in the quiet of her apartment, the echo of wrong tax bracket bouncing off the walls. Shame flushed hot under her skin, not just at Ava, but at herself, for knowing that line would hit some of her followers' secret thoughts exactly. On the bedside table, her car key glinted in a shaft of light. She showered, pulled on high-waisted jeans that hugged her hips, a simple black tank, sneakers, no contour, no lashes, just her face, freckles and all. She stared at herself in the mirror, trying to see what 3 million people saw. All she saw right now was a woman who'd let a moment of habit turn someone else's life into a scavenger hunt. She grabbed her keys and went. There were more people outside Carter's auto than there had any right to be. 4 girls leaned against a parked car across the street, phones out, giggling as they filmed the sign. Another woman did a slow pan from the faded banner to herself, whispering into her camera, "You guys, we found it." The mechanic shop Tessa low-key tried to hide from us. Tessa's chest hurt. One of the girls noticed her SUV pulling in and shrieked, "Oh my God, guys, it's actually her!" They swiveled, cameras tracking her as she climbed out. Tessa forced a small smile. "Hey," she said, "please don't block the driveway, okay? They need to get cars in and out." We will," one said breathlessly. "Is he here? Like, are you guys filming something? Is he your boyfriend?" The questions hit fast, hungry. "He's a mechanic who fixed my tire," Tessa said. "And this is his workplace, not a backdrop. Please don't film anyone without asking." They nodded, eyes wide. One lowered her phone a little. The live comments still streamed. "Tessa, be nice to the blue-collar king girl. We know you smashing. Ask him if he has a brother." Tessa swallowed and walked inside, the bell over the door jingling like it always did, somehow absurdly normal over the chaos outside. Carter looked up from the counter, lips pressed in a thin line. "He's in the back," he said, jerking his chin. "Been there since the first kid pointed her phone through the window at 8 a.m. Guilt knifed through her. "I'm so sorry." Carter studied her for a long beat, then shrugged, tired. "You didn't write the world, kid, but you sure gave him a link." He went back to his invoice. Her eyes stung. The little office door was half closed. She knocked gently and pushed it open. Malik sat hunched in the metal chair, arms on his knees, phone dangling from one hand. There was oil on his knuckles and a smudge on his jaw like a fingerprint. The quiet anger radiating off him was almost physical. He looked up when she entered. His eyes, usually warm and steady, were flat. "Hey," he said, voice low. "Hey," she echoed. "Can I?" He nodded toward the other chair. She sat, legs suddenly unsteady. "I saw the posts," he said. "Hard not to, with them filming my front door like it's a red carpet." "I never tagged the shop," she blurted. "I was so careful not to show your face or the name or—" "I know," he cut in. "You blurred me. Internet sharpened me. That's how it goes." He turned the phone so she could see. A compilation account had already stitched together clips, her story, the zoomed-in sign, the shaky street shot. A bold title ran across the top, "Influencer falls for broke mechanic?" Tessa flinched. "I'm so sorry," she said again, uselessly. Malik leaned back, rubbing his forehead with the heel of his hand. "First time I went viral," he muttered. "Didn't even have to dance." Despite everything, a weak sound that might have been a laugh escaped her. He looked at her then, and some of the sharpness in his eyes softened, but it didn't disappear. "You said you weren't going to tell everybody where you were," he said quietly. "I believed you. Guess we both forgot they tell on themselves." She nodded, shame hot in her throat. "I should have thought about reflections, about how people zoom in. I was careless. You're paying for it." "Yeah," he said simply. I am. Silence settled between them. She could hear the whine of a drill in the bay, the murmur of the radio, the muffled squeals outside when someone thought they'd seen her through the glass. My manager set a meeting here for 3, Tessa said. With the brand. She wants to turn this into a campaign. Use you. Use this place. His jaw flexed. Without asking me. Without asking either of us, she said. Ava thinks we can control the narrative. Pay you. Dress it up as respecting real workers. But I... She looked down at her hands, twisted in her lap. I don't want to drag you into a circus you didn't choose, she finished. Even if the tickets pay well. He studied her. What do you want? The question landed like a weight. I want them to leave you alone, she said, voice cracking. I want you to be able to change someone's tire at 2 a.m. without worrying about being turned into a meme. I want to keep the one night of my life that wasn't content from being harvested. And what about your job? He asked. No judgment, just the practical question of a man who'd done the math on survival his whole life. She thought of the contracts, the forwarded brand decks, the carefully constructed persona Ava had built with her. Thought of the rent, the assistant she paid, the editor, the phone bill. Then she thought of the way her heart had dropped when she saw the circled screenshot of his shop, the girls squealing outside his window, the comments calling him a project. I can't keep saying I believe in seeing people while standing by, while 3 million of mine strip you for parts, she said. If that costs me deals, then it costs me deals. You sure? He asked softly. No, she admitted, tears burning. But I'm more sure that I can't live with myself if I sell you off in 30-second clips just because the algorithm likes greasy hands. A slow, surprised smile tugged at his mouth at that last line, even as his eyes shone. Greasy hands, huh? You know what I mean, she said, laughing wetly. He sobered. So what now? She drew in a breath that felt like standing on the edge of a roof. Now I wait for Ava and the reps to get here, and I tell them no, she said. I tell them you're not for sale, that this is your shop, not a set, that if they want real roads, they can start by listening to the people who keep those roads safe. And if they walk, he asked. Then they walk, she said. I'll do a different campaign, or none. I'll figure it out. Malik watched her, like he was trying to see if she really meant it or just liked the way it sounded. Okay, he said at last. Then when your people come, you handle them. I'll be in the back. I don't need to be their prop, but I also don't need front row seats if they decide to throw a tantrum. She shook her head. I'm not hiding you. He gave a small huff. Pretty sure hiding's the one thing I still get to choose for myself. That shut her up. After a moment she nodded. Fair. He stood, hesitated, then held his hand out toward her, palm up, slow enough that she could pull away if she wanted. She didn't. Her fingers slid into his grip firm but careful, like he handled fragile things all day and knew his own strength. Whatever happens, he said quietly, remember this. You're allowed to have parts of your life that don't belong to them, not even the broken parts. Her throat swelled. You say that like you know. I've got a couple of broken parts, he said with a half smile. None of them ended up on a grid. The bell at the front door clanged open, loud. Ava's voice carried down the hallway, sharp and bright, followed by a smoother corporate tone. They're here, Tessa whispered. Malik squeezed her hand once and let go. Time to see who you really work for, he murmured. She wiped her cheeks with the heel of her hand, squared her shoulders, and stepped out of the office toward the noise, the cameras, and the choice she'd already made.